For a typical Tai Chi lesson, I will first begin by giving an introduction as to what we're going to practice as far as the form movements, applications, or concepts or principles. I will start the class off with warm-ups, followed by some stretching exercises along with some breath practice, which we call Qigong. After that, I will get into the drill work that's going to supplement or complement the application, form, movement, or concept principle that we're going to work on. Once we go through the drill work, I will then add some practical applications, which may employ doing some partner work, as well as doing some martial applications that is going to give you some functional understanding of the movements. Let's look at an example. As an example, I'm going to do a brief lesson on what we call silk reeling. Silk reeling is a circular practice that's very common in Tai Chi. Well, you'll see the method of the hands following along with the center, as well as shifting the weight from side to side, as well as a waist turn that coordinates all the movements together. So, introduction of the movement will look something as such. Get yourself into a proper stance. You're going to start off making sure you're center balanced. The hands is going to follow the center, so I'll turn my center to my right side. I'll relax my hand on the left side to my hip. Following the motion, I'm moving my weight from left to right, following my center. The hand falls down below. Getting over to my left side, I lift my right hand. I turn my palm away, and I want to follow. Dropping my hand, I repeat to the other side. Now I may start to include the breathing, so I'm going to breathe in as I go to the left side, breathing in. Lifting my hand up, and then I go back across, going and breathing out. Okay? That's an example of silk reeling and how I will introduce the movement to the class. From there, I will then introduce some breath practice, get you coordinating your breathing by maybe doing something very simple as just lifting your hands and dropping your hands to coordinate with your breath. So, an example would be lifting my hands shoulder height, breathing in. Bending my elbows, dropping my weight, breathing out. Repeating once again, breathing in. Bending your elbows, breathing out. Trying to coordinate your movement with your breathing. Now, if I'm doing that as a set, depending on the time frame I have to work with, I may do that from 6 to 12 repetitions, and sometimes you can even do more if you're really trying to hyper-focus on that particular set of mechanics. So that's one of the exercises I will do just to get the breathing coordinated together and get yourself kind of relaxed for the action. Now, if I want to supplement the motion of shifting our weight from left to right, what I will start to do will be something very basic, like doing some waist turns from left to right to get the waist moving, getting it loosened up. I may do some things where I'm going to stretch also the body and getting myself to open maybe my lats from left to right. So I may stretching down to my one side, coming back up to the center, stretching the other side. And again, I'll do this in number of sets. Also may tie that with my breath. I may say breathe in as you come up. Breathe out as you go down. In this example, I may also add a little bit more advanced version of the same exercise by having the students opening their stance a little bit wider. And I also may include a stretching of the hand so that helps supplement the action of opening up your side here. So I breathe in, I want to breathe out going to the side. So now I got an additional stretch with the hand. Also may do a count here where I'm just not worried about my breath. I may want to hold that stretch for a little bit longer and do a 6-second to a 12-second count. Come back up and switch sides. Another thing that I may do to help me get an understanding of shifting my weight from side to side, I may make explicit examples of putting weight into one leg versus the other. So I may start off by having one leg forward and still also working with turning the waist and I may then start to turn my waist and shifting my weight to one leg versus the other. And then I'll alternate, making sure I'm kind of working both sides. So there are a variety of exercises that can be used to kind of get you prepared for a particular practical action or movement form. So one of the other things I'll do, since we're going to be working on doing, as an example, the silk reeling, here's the drill work that I'll include with that. So I'll have the students open up their stance and then start from a basic shifting of the weight from side to side. Again, since there are principles tied to the action, the principles require that you drop your weight and make sure your knees are kind of in line with your toes. So I'll start with the action and build up in parameters where I'm just maybe working the legs. So I have the students shifting their weight from left to right, going laterally, making sure they're not sticking out their hip, buckling in their knees, and getting an idea of how the student connects with the action. So going back from right side over to the right side now, back to the left side. And again, I may also include breath practice to kind of keep them coordinated, or I may just get them just to work on the mechanics of the action. Okay, so now just the weight shift. Now we're going to start introducing turning of the waist. Making sure my center goes to my center of the knee. Starting to get it more coordinated to what we're going to do in the actual practice. Again, I'm making sure other things are adhered to as far as principles, like the knees or the hips are not dropping down. You're still shifting your weight, but now you also are turning your waist from side to side. Ensuring that you're taking weight completely off one leg and putting it into the other, but also staying balanced. From there, I may now introduce hand gestures to coordinate with the movements, following it around with my right hand, going to my left side, lifting up, turning out. At this point, I may not introduce any breath practice just because I want them to focus more so on the mechanics and not worry about too much of detail as far as coordinating them together. And typically, once I do one side, I will start doing the other side. Making sure all the principles and the details are adhered to now with the opposite hand. And going in pretty much in the opposite direction. But notice in this case here, I'm still only shifting left and right and turning my center from left to right. Okay, now if I'm taking this to a complex level, I may start introducing both hands together. And also may start to introduce the breath practice. As I'm doing these exercises, I will start to introduce visualization. I will visualize pulling up top with the top hand and pushing down below, and start to get them to visualize there's something heavy, some sense of resistance in the action. Just give them more purpose and more intent in their actions. Also preparing their minds for what we're going to do as far as a practical application or partner work geared around the practice. I may also introduce alternate ways to look at it. I may say instead of pulling with the hand, now we're going to push with your tricep, bicep, or the elbow. And also with the opposite hand here, instead of pushing with the hand, you're going to visualize you pulling from the elbow. So you still got the same kind of action, but just different intent. And once these are introduced, again, you can go back to isolating just one hand at a time with that same visualization. Okay, when you get into partner work, you can start to introduce different ways or different methods to use a partner to apply those same visualizations into play. So in the case of the silk reeling, if I was going to use a partner, I may say, hey, shake hands from one side to the other, have a partner stand in their stance on the opposite corner, in this case here my left corner. And what I'm going to use the visualization and turn into a practical application where I'm applying the same principles I did before, just with someone as a partner. I'm going to pull and follow my actions all the way to that side, and then pull down so that they start to go in that same method of the flow of my hand. I may also say, I'm going to, instead of pull, I'm going to visualize that I'm pushing. So the same thing is going to happen as far as the mechanics, except for now your intent changes. I'm going to have someone put pressure onto my tricep, again with their weight being balanced off to the side. I'm going to use my same mechanics to kind of push them off the way, and may say, okay, now once they're there, have them grab onto the inside of the elbow, and then I'm going to do the opposite action, if you will, to the other side. And you can kind of repeat this flow with your partner. This kind of give you some practical play. And again, what I will do systematically is also get feedback, both from the partner as well as the person working on the actual application, or the drill, as we say, to get an idea of how they're connected with the movements and get an understanding of how it works and the flow of things. Allowing for questions, comments, epiphanies, concerns, anything of that nature. I hope this helps.